business? Thank you. What room? What sense of arriving? We're opening every moment, aren't we, into this vastness. Uh, Even when there's a lot of objects in a room, or even when there are a lot of people, or we can get distressed, can't we? There's too many people, we were saying yesterday, around the traffic, right? So many people on the road. And I was saying it as well, uh, because I was, one, not anticipating that quite so early. So I was a little shocked by the condition. And I wanted it to be faster. I only wanted to be shopping for 10 minutes. I didn't want to be shopping for 40 minutes. And then the truth is, can we see the preference in it? Can you see the bias mindfully, right? Compassionately. And then feel for yourself in that, I just wanted a 10-minute little quick thing. I didn't really want to be out here half the day, which is how 40 minutes feels when you're wanting 10. And in addition, can you feel the knottedness of it, the contractedness, the pulling oneself then out of the vastness that is actually yours? And you can feel it because you can feel the smallness, I'll call it that, right? The contractedness, the removal of yourself in some way from this ever opening reality of the present moment. And we're going to be practicing with this now for the whole month, really. We're going to stay in this open luminosity, really calm arrival, calm presence, calm uh, 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 letting go, because there are going to be lots of conditions over the next month, right? As is typical in a season of holidays and travel, weather, um, demands, expectations, lots of preferences, right? For this or that. Can we really uh, stay in our active abiding and luminosity, opening to it all? And it doesn't mean you have to like the traffic, right? This could be a little delusional that we turn to like it, but can we simply see the preferencing mind then as the one that took you away? Really, it took you away from the beauty of this life, didn't it? I was all in my head now about what it should be or how it could be or why it wasn't. And then we have left. And well, leaving the space is one thing. Not being in the car, for example, is one thing. But then, really, more importantly, leaving oneself, the other. And for sure, for me, more essential, right? That there can be no problem, no struggle, no resistance, no difficulty. And I really mean this. I'm not joking. Regardless of the difficult circumstances, if we do not abandon ourselves to the preference, to the wanting, to the not wanting, to the right. And we forget, don't we? Most of us have already gotten tied up in a fair amount of knots just about Thursday. Where am I going? Who am I going with? What if I don't go? What if they're coming? What if they're not coming? Do I have enough of this? Not enough of that? We took way too long yesterday talking about the refrigerator. Just talking about what's in the refrigerator. And we got to get rid of what's in the refrigerator. And, we're not going to have room for the rest of the stuff in the refrigerator. And we had 3 adults, grown up people over here going, what are we going to do about that refrigerator? And it's not that the conversation's wrong, really at all. It's a nice thing to consider, things to come. Um, but it's useful, I think, to see how we are greeting uh, the conversation or how we are attending to the reality We have so much is the bottom line that we don't know what to do with it. Isn't it true? We have so much that we don't know what to do with it. And then can we, in the conversation about what to do about all that stuff, feel this infinite gratitude, right? For all that we have, all the time, literally every moment. Why? Why? What's there every moment, all the time, regardless of circumstance? Libby says awareness. All there every moment, all the time, no matter what the circumstance. Too little,
Deep,
Dennis,
deep,
what?
deep resolve, a deep resolve in our souls, a deep resolve.
Resolve.
Our breath.
Our own breath. What else? What's there every moment, no matter what? Infinite, never ending. The spaciousness of it all. Libby said, the spaciousness is always here. And so then, what's the opportunity to see what did I do to limit the view? What construct, concept, idea, expectation, demand, preference, bias did I bring to limit that? Because it is not only in the moment, it is not just spaciousness in the moment around you, it is the spaciousness of you. See, that's you. That infinite nature is you. What did you do then? What was the default that led to not knowing, not seeing, not making contact, right? And we were sitting here fetching about, Leslie will appreciate that Yiddish, fetching about how much food we had and what we were going to do with it. To do what? Make room for more. Right. And then you just got to smile, like, nice problem to have. Right. Can we sense what we're saying? Do you know what I'm saying? That really any moment of suffering, this is why the Buddha and all the Buddhas, all the awakened ones, speak to this, which is if there is a difficulty for you, it doesn't mean there isn't pain, right? The reality of pain in this human life is a real thing. We are going to lose, as we do in the five remembrances, right? We know we're going to lose everything. That's going to hurt, right? And life is hard. It is not easy as a result of that impermanence, as a result of that uncertainty, as a result of the no permanence, nothing to grab onto, nothing to keep, right? We will struggle by our nature. And, but we don't have to add suffering to it. We do not have to. And especially in this week, and then in the weeks to follow, can we watch our habits for creating suffering? What are you thinking should be happening? What conditions are you putting in place for the present moment? Should be like this or that are contributing to the difficulties. Otherwise, no problem. Then truly no problem. And we're going to sit now silently, and then we're going to move right into Zonknes from chapter 7, Clear Seeing, to look at, we can touch and make contact then from that calm abiding, that place of tranquility. We can make contact with everything without difficulty. The itch, the burn, the tightness, the coolness, the warmth, the snow, the sun, the cloud, really then no problem. And we're always amazed every single practice, are we? We come away from it every time saying the same thing. Wow, okay, that's right, I forgot. That's right. My coffee's cold, so what? It's only a problem if I wanted or needed it to be some other way, right? It's not a problem. In fact, I actually prefer the taste when it cools slightly. But no, right? Because we have these ideas, expectations. All right. So we're going to gather ourselves to sit, and then I'll move right into uh, that looking at objects from that spaciousness, and then looking at one's own characteristics, qualities, and conditions, thoughts, feelings, sensations. And so you can leave the eyes open or closed, right, for this luminosity practice. We're going to rest first in the space for the whole month, resting first in open space. Why? Nothing to grab, nothing to do. And if you happen to land on an object, eyes open or closed, then the practice will be to simply see the open space in, around the objects. You will know that spaciousness minimally by its temporariness, its coming and goingness. And let's begin. And from this stillness, this silence, this vast open space, we can sense the ungraspable reality of the present moment, of ourselves, and of everything in it. And instead of struggle or resist, we rest back in the open space itself, luminous, bright, radiant. And then we notice that all objects of mind, all objects and sensations within the body, all emotions, all sensed or experience, all sounds, all smells, all tastes, that it all simply arises and passes, just this one breath, just like the breath itself. Nothing to cling to, nothing to push away. We rest in that warmth, made warm by you and your loving presence. This welcoming, opening, receptive, abiding quality of mind, unobstructed, and then the possibilities for too much, too little are impossible. Just this. And then we notice that there are no beliefs required, there are no perspectives, no philosophies, no faith. But the requirement is this calm abiding, this mindfulness. This inviting one's whole heart, mind, body, being to this one moment. And then we can turn towards any object. We're going to practice with a few without attachment, without aversion, without dulling oneself, without over excitement. We simply rest back in the vast open space, opening to include each object gently, kindly, welcoming. And then we simply create space for it to arise and pass. We don't cling, we don't grip. There's no point. And beginning them with the breath itself, ungraspable, in and out breath. We hold it gently, lightly, offering space and room, not only around it, but within it. A short breath or a long one, really the condition of the breath, the texture of the breath, the frequency of the breath is simply an interesting antidote. It's not the point. What is the relationship of the heart mind to this one breath? Make it complete. No breath, but this one. Exactly as it is. Mindfulness selects the objects and awareness holds it all, beyond the breath to the body as a whole. Mindfulness arranges the aperture, narrow or wide focus, up or down, left or right. And awareness itself abides it all. Remember, awareness is not in movement, unlike mindfulness, right? That can direct itself here or there. Awareness is always open, stable, unmoving, always receptive, never rejecting, always light and warm and spacious and still. Rest here. There is no object to rest in. They are all appearing and disappearing. And then you see clearly whether by the breath, the body as a whole, we might even open to include thoughts, emotions, sounds, and other sense or experience. There's nowhere to abide but the space, the stillness, the silence itself. Luminous, bright, warm, always available. Some objects you like, some you don't. This luminosity is never diminished. The people you like, the people you don't. The heart is never made smaller. We can handshake, as Zonkni says, we can greet everything. And in so doing, always made larger, always bigger, always warmer, always more compassionate, whatever it is. Object by object, we grow. And our mindfulness grows more a clear seeing, more committed, liberated, free. And then imagining a condition, if you would, for just a moment, a condition that might, for you, make you believe that somehow this luminosity can be dimmed. What could it be? This luminosity, this awareness, this vastness can hold fear, terror, grief, tragedy, sadness, disappointment, rage, anger. What could it be? There is no thing that could diminish it. And by its very light, by its very capacity, by that capacity that is also us in our own Buddha nature. We can hold everything. Awakening moment by moment, object by object. Expanding. It can hold the preference, it can hold the reactivity, holds the emotion, the thought, unconditionally. This is the path and the practice of the Bodhisattva, all awakening ones. This thought, this sound, this body. This feeling, exactly like this. Tranquil, serene, easeful, calm, clear, radiant, luminous awareness. And may this practice, this day, this breath be of benefit. So be it. And seeing if you can sustain some of this luminosity, some of this spaciousness, this non-reactivity, this capacity that is yours every moment, every breath. And then opening to include the whole body, just seeing what the body might invite right now. Taking a moment, inviting a gentle movement. it would be suggested that you rest in this some amount of time each day. And you will notice then that it is available to you. You will also notice that if you don't, it is not. And then I want to hear why you decided not to. Because I can't wait to hear what you came up with. What could it be? Really? Honestly, what could it possibly be? You couldn't come up with it. The turkey? No. Plenty of time. Right? Then there is nothing. There is no obstruction then. In any moment, we can see clearly. Even our own habits become a part of the path, as we've been talking about. They are not the problem. We see the preference for, oh, I'm just going to scroll on my thing. I'm going to do X or Y or Z. I've got to get the work done or the bill paid or the whatever. And these are not because they are not useful things, but we never want to make them the obstacle, the distraction, the reason why we then do not choose wakefulness, presence. In fact, more the reason to choose it. Anything about this practice? This is the one we're going to be staying with. Always resting for this month in open, spacious, radiant light of awareness. What a beautiful time of year to do so as we approach the dark, and we can bring the warmth and the light to that, right? Even to darkness, even to the thing we think is unworkable or unnavigable or can't be with this or this is too hard. It's actually not true. It is not true as a believed thought. Can you notice that as a believed thought rather than the truth? It is not the truth. This is the truth. The whole point of these practices is simply this: to know the truth. That's it. You don't have to believe anything. You don't have to have a mala. You don't need a statue. You don't, nothing. You have all the equipment you need actually right here. And so be watchful of this. If only this, then I could do it. Right? And we keep noticing. Thank you all for those who are practicing. I know some people have to transition. At this point, before we go on to the chapter, thank you always for joining. We are going to be in the garden for those before you click off. We're going to be in the garden this Saturday. In fact, I think this one, but not the 7th, December 7th, I will be in Dallas. We will not be here, but the rest of the month, all the way to the New Year and the Burning Bowl ceremony. We will be here, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. We just got another request for those who are still here of support. We need help again at Philabelli, which is our Thursday evening on the 19th of December. We'll need some side dishes and a dessert. We'll talk about that more as we go along, but remember, we're the fill-ins. I love that job of ours. They've already contacted us. There is a choir performance on the 19th, by the way, at United Methodist Church. I hear it is a stunning choir. And the choir signed up for providing the food and then got overwhelmed by how to sing and practice and serve and blah. And so we're going to be stepping in to support them also. And thank yous continue to come from that group, just so you know, around the tents and the sleeping bags and the clothing. We will be collecting jackets of all kinds for the 19th when we'll be there next, because we've heard that's getting colder. Courtney's snow was a good reminder about the conditions that we're all going to be in. And if you're traveling, just know I think it's a little difficult. It's going to be a little bit difficult the next few days. So give yourself plenty of space, room, spaciousness, and this luminosity. You might need that for you and others if you're traveling. Okay, let's go to the chapter. The choir is amazing. Yes, I have seen them once. The organ is amazing there. The bells are amazing there. That's right. And having items. Thank you, Tanya. We're going to be collecting those. Let's go to the chapter and take a look at that. I always have to do a little funny stuff here to get this to share. So let me give it a try. Again, disappears on me. It's kind of funny how this works. Pull it over here. There we go. And then as somebody, you could shake your head once this gets back over here. Tell me if you can see it. It says calm and clear. Can everybody see that? Renee, can you see it? Yeah. Okay, thank you. For me, this is an underwhelming chapter. Libby's going to help me because everything I was reading, I was like, yeah, we already kind of know that. But it's always good to review, right, as well. And so I'm just looking at the first two pages. It looks like page 139, right? Okay, 139, calm and clear. He's really now just talking about moving from capacities of greeting, handshaking, right? He gave us that skill, getting into the body, being embodied. He offered that. Now he's going to be turning towards objects and qualities of objects and recognition of objects as objects, and the cause of our suffering primarily being our wish and our desire, and then our demand that things be solid, permanent, ours. They go our way, they stay, they don't get here when we don't like them, right? These wanting, not wanting natures. And he's saying cultivating mindfulness is essential on this path. And of course, we already know that that's correct. So he says here, I've only done two things. If they had only the broad, they might be aware of the whole area, but not place things precisely, but they have both. This is the capacity of mindfulness, by the way, that is both internal, external, and both. It is one of the functions of the definition. Internal, that which is occurring within me. External, that which is occurring around me in the wider scape, and both. And that there is a capacity, we own it, to hold all of this. You just did it, right? You noticed the sound, and then you noticed this arising sensation. You noticed an itch, then you noticed the thought about it, right? This capacity for the fluidness of noticing objects within the vast space. But it is not just external. It is both internal, external, and both. That is one of the Satipatthana Sutta's definitions. So just know, if you're only noticing it in one direction, you have the capacity. It doesn't mean you shouldn't. It might be important to just know how I am within right now, because remember, the mind can only hold one object point at a time. So this is really a sort of toggling effect, isn't it? Internal, external, and both, right? Holding both in narrow scape, wide scape, both narrow and wide scape, all the time. We're capable of all of this. Where you direct the mind is a capacity of mindfulness as well. I can direct it to just the breath, or just to noticing thoughts, or holding it wide open to opening to the arising, passing quality of what we just did, right? Very open, spacious awareness, not holding onto any object, just noticing the arising and passing of them all. This is all of the capacity of our mindfulness, which is vast, very quite big. Sometimes we actually bump into things, but mostly we bump into situations and other people. Everyday mindfulness could help with difficulties that come from unawareness. And as we are reminding ourselves, the moment we notice that we were not awake, we are once again awakened, right? So there is no moment, you just weren't in contact with that bright light of awareness that is yours and you for getting caught, narrow escape in this thing that I want or this thing that I like. But the noticing of it blows back open the truth of our ever present luminosity and awareness. Here's another thing. Earlier chapters were designed to help us connect with our bodies, our feeling worlds, that more internal, intrinsic quality of our humanness and our being. And then really before we have to know an object first, before we can then open to include what is the relationship to the object. What is this quality of mind holding now the object, not just the awareness of the object, which is always the practice in the Vipassana school. I think somebody called it basic. I'm not sure they would appreciate that word. I'm not sure it's true. It is fundamental, essential. I would use certainly those words to know objects and their characteristics. What's the point? Why? Why know all objects? This is how the fundamental school begins. Why know all objects, no matter what you point at, and its characteristic? What's the point of it? Somebody write it in chat or say it. What's the point of knowing the nature of characteristics of all objects? And I'll click back open and see if I can find somebody. What's the point? Read chat, see what we got here. Builds a skill, Libby says, for then recognizing the qualities of mind, all conditioned nature, right? Everything in its conditioned nature does what? Everything. Your thoughts, your sensations, that bird sound, come and go. What's the definition of that? What do we say? Impermanent, insubstantial, unsatisfactory. Can't keep it, can't get rid of it if it's already here, right? I can, however, be aware of its nature. And in so knowing its nature, what? Not struggle. It's going to come, it's going to go. There's nothing I could do. And then I don't have to get into a fight with myself, the object, or the other. Do I? Now there's no struggle because this is its inherent conditioned nature. Why are we looking at everything? Oh, that too. Oh, that too. That thought about Trump, that thought about her, that thought about the partner, that thought, the partner and my perception of them, no different. Simply an arising moment, impermanent, impersonal, not substantial, not an inherent abiding truth, except for its nature. Oh, everything coming and going. The things I like, the things I don't like, the things I want, the things I don't want, the people I like, the people I don't like. When I was a kid, this makes me think of a little funny moment. This is one of those concepts. I had heard that John Wayne died, and I said to my father, "How did he die? How did John Wayne die?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I went, "I thought John Wayne, like right? You, as a kid, you have these ideas, right? That it will be permanent, that somehow they're big enough, strong enough, something enough to be forever. And there is an interesting truth in it. There's an interesting truth there, but it wasn't in John Wayne. It was in the truth of awareness. It is ever abiding. It is ever present. It is not born. It does not die at all. I just got them confused. And every once in a while, you'll hear me say my John Wayne awareness. That's because of that story, right? I mistook it for a moment, for an object or a person, rather than a capacity, right? And the three refuges remind us, no, the capacity is ever present, always pointing towards the truth. And you can use the Sangha, the community, to keep finding it, because they will remind you as well, won't they? Oh no, even this difficulty, even this challenge, even this momentary reality. Thank you for letting us know. But you get this idea. Yeah. So I'm going to get back to the chapter. I'm going to put this down for a second. So that's the point of this understanding with these ideas. Awareness is where things get more subtle, he says, but we're going to back up because I want to see what he said about it before. The earlier objects pointed us towards objects, conditioned existence, it's sometimes called. Conditioned reality is another word that's sometimes used for this. All meaning all things that are things, all things resting in that nature that is unavoidable, cannot be, doesn't matter how big the building, how much concrete they used, right? It too, no matter how large the mountain, no matter, right? It too is by its nature conditioned as all things, except that which knows it is the unconditioned. Knowing, thinking, awareness, and clarity. Knowing is automatic, always here, always available. A red flower is both red and a flower. Most of the time, we don't need to relearn or reanalyze that truth. Such knowing happens constantly, subconsciously, by itself, even if we are focused on another task. When an airplane flies overhead, he says, we automatically know it's an airplane. The sound is associated with a label we already learned, and so we often don't attend, don't pay attention, we just name it and then move on. Thinking is straightforward, he writes. We all know what thinking is. We are all experts at this, millions of thoughts. Sometimes we're deliberately thinking, sometimes thoughts are simply arising. He does make a distinction. Sometimes we actively engage in deliberate thought, sometimes not. Sometimes just random or pop up in their nature. The knowing of them, however, is always available, even when thoughts are pleasant, even when they're unpleasant, even when they're intentional, even when they're not intentional, but more random. What's the truth? Still simply arising and passing. We don't give them more weight at all because I think this or I think that. All thoughts, simply thoughts, conditioned on the what? Moment before, the moment before, the moment before. And then how you hold it right now. With what? Awareness, to the extent that that is possible. He says, this is where things get a little more subtle. We know that we're knowing. We know that we're knowing. We all have awareness, but it doesn't always manifest this potential for knowing because our mindfulness may not be active in the present moment. We may simply be thinking, not now hearing the plane, not seeing the red in the present moment flower, not because what? Caught in the storyline or the spin about life, about myself, about the practice, about the present moment, right? And so this says really the truth in all of the teachings say, be careful, be careful. You may be writing a fiction every moment that is just your ideas about life, but not having too much to do with it. Oh, by the way, mostly true. Liking, not liking, wanting, not wanting, a very big fiction writing, having nothing to do with life itself. Clarity is the unique quality of our mind that distinguishes it from the other phenomena. thinking is real. This kind of thinking is clear. The basic backdrop of the mind, a wakeful, easeful, spacious quality that we just practice. Always available, never not available, no matter the object. There is no object. It does not exist that is larger than your capacity for awareness itself. I want to stop here because nobody believes me. Nothing. Not your fear, not your grief, not your terror. No, it is not true. It is not larger. There is no object larger than the luminous quality of awareness itself. This gives me so much ease. Because then, no matter how painful, no matter how hard, no matter how scary, we can cultivate this capacity for holding it all. And we need it because life is not always easy, right? So we're going to need it. It doesn't mean it's not hard. It means I can hold this too. As hard as it is, as confusing as it is, as uncertain as it is, this luminous quality is the truth of our true nature. We can experience drowsiness, darkness, right, whatever it is, but in the knowing of it, in the holding it up into the light of awareness, it will not have us. We will have capacity within it. Without clarity, we couldn't experience drowsiness, the dimming of clarity. We wouldn't know it, but we can know it by the power of mindfulness and awareness. According to my tradition, this is the Tibetan tradition, the uniqueness of clarity defines the mind. The quality of openness, receptivity defines the object, we say, not the object defining the quality of mind. But don't we get this mixed up? Yes, we do. We go, that was too hard. That was too hard. No, that's not too hard. You began with, I don't like this, I don't want this, and I want it to go away. Now that's too hard. Why? Well, because it's still here. But it isn't the object. It is the quality of mind that greets the object that defines, we don't like this. All experience. Defines all experience. I'm going to stop there again. You get to tell me how much you don't like this truth. Nothing unworkable. Nothing. Except the mind that did not want it. Do we get this? Yeah, look at the power now of the quality of our own minds. It's a big deal, right? Nothing defines the object except the quality of mind that holds it. Libby's going, She's groaning back here. Why are we groaning? Because it's true. What? The power of it then, right? And then we go, what have I been doing? Really, what have I been doing? I've been thinking it's that the whole time. If it was not you, the partner, you, the dog, you, the gopher, you, the yard, you, the reality of hunger, of poverty, of violence, there's the problem. No, it isn't true. And then we have to take all this responsibility, don't we? We do. This is the part we don't like, oh, no. This is something now that you have complete power and authority in, the quality of your own mind in relationship to whatever the circumstance, whatever the person, whatever the perspective is. And we struggle with this because we go, no, this one's too hard. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. I didn't say that. Did I? I didn't say that. I'd be a liar. But how you hold that pain, how you hold that grief, how you hold that anger, how you hold that confusion is everything. And I really mean it. Don't I? You can hear it in my voice. It's everything. And so the next problem you have, this is not for judgment. This is not about blame. This is about the potency of your own mindfulness, your own awareness, and your capacities that will come from it. This is the point. This is not a blame game. This is an opportunity. Then, as horrible, as confused, as unpleasant, as not wanting, as whatever it is. Right? True? Yeah, it is true. And so that's the beauty of the truth, is that look at what I'm capable of now. Look at what I have the potential to influence, to heal, to impact in this life now. Look at that. Right? It's huge. It's not small. It's not powerless. It's not hopeless at all. It's simply an amazing opportunity to awaken to that truth over and over and over again. There is a luminous quality, he writes. We can experience drowsiness, darkness, any of these qualities without difficulty, really. According to this tradition, this uniqueness of clarity defines not only the mind, by the way he writes, but who we are. It defines who we are. Other phenomena, apart from mind, don't have this basic luminous characteristic or quality to it. Mindful awareness, aware of other and aware of itself. Aware of others means it is aware of objects, both tangible and intangible, including thoughts. Aware of itself means it knows its own qualities. For me, the purpose of mindfulness practice is to become mindful of awareness itself. Mindful of awareness and our capacities itself. Otherwise, we might still have the capacity of awareness, but may not be mindful of it. And so consequently not call on it, not call it up, which is, by the way, in the neuroscience, we know, required. It is always present, but will not arise without the intention to call it upon it. Will not. It's right there, waiting for you. Waiting for you. Gone nowhere, always available, waiting for you to call on it and call it up. And that's the whole point of our practice, is that we keep calling on it. We keep calling it up. We keep remembering, right, over and over and over and over. And this is what he says: remembering, noticing, bringing attention to this reality, this capacity, again and again. What is mindfulness like on its own? He talks about the body and the things you might notice, the objects you might notice. The new habit of mindfulness slowly replaces the old habit of being asleep, distracted, lost in thoughts, lost in the storyline, past or future. And I loved his analogy of the river, which is his brother's, by the way. Mingyur is Dzongkhnen's brother, both delightful masters. You can, and doesn't he describe it first as a cascading waterfall, I think, of thoughts, and then that cascading waterfall lands in a flowing river, and then from that flowing river, it continues to grow and into a lake, and then the lake into this still pond. The pond might be the last, the lake itself. I wouldn't end it there. I'd actually take that all the way down to the vast ocean of awareness that holds everything, all waters, all objects, all people, all things, larger than any limited characteristic, right? Vast, beyond anything that could be defined as a limit. As we move toward awareness, it becomes less narrowly focused, less object targeting. That's what we're practicing right now. The culmination of this process is experiencing unconfined, I love that, lucid openness more and more. Here's the beauty of this. Once you have opened, it cannot close. Once you have opened in that way, whatever moment you grasp, like, got it, there it is, even with thinking, no problem, just in the awareness of it, it can never be diminished. It can't go back into less seeing. You cannot be blinded, interestingly, after seeing. You might not like it, you might not prefer it, you might not even want it, but you can't not see it. You can't not see it. It's just not possible. He gives an example of the shepherd, the sheep, and the rope, defining mindfulness as the rope, I think, the sheep as the objects arising and passing, and the shepherd as that vast open space. Look where the shepherd is. Not in the rope, not in the sheep, holding the whole of it in what? Knowing awareness, vast open, spacious presence. We might even call that awareness the field upon in which everything is arising and passing. They use the shepherd as the knowingness quality. Awareness, the next step is settling and focusing. We did the calm abiding. We did that silently, resting in undistracted tranquility. Can anything then disturb it? Can anything disturb it? I'm actually asking. What's your thoughts about that? Write it in chat. Can anything limit the field? Limit the luminosity at all? And what would it be? What could it be? We can, to gain awareness of our judgments. Oh yeah, good to know. Our own preferencing, our own judgments, our own opinions, right, is critical. Awareness can hold this too. Our very qualities of experiencing, understanding, and clarity. This is Felicia. Here Renee says, I or we have been solidifying these objects instead of just seeing them as coming and going. Oh boy, haven't we? My pain like this, my disgusting, confused relationship like this, right? We're just solidifying all over the place a thing that cannot be solid. This is a little bit funny. This is the nature of our true insanity. Until we see it clearly, isn't it? Like, what did you just grab? My partner like this. Nope. My mind like this. Well, kinda. Yeah, maybe, right. That I didn't like that, didn't want that, had a different idea. Very common. Janine says, I feel like I'm undoing decades of programming. We are. It actually, that is completely right. That's exactly right. Yeah, everything. What in the world could get in the way of your luminous, open, spacious, ever present, always available awareness? What could get in its way? Not practicing? Yeah, mostly. Mostly. It's not doing it is really it. There's only one thing that gets in its way, and that's the not doing it, the forgetting it, right? Not because it isn't there still, right? We just never want to get confused. Always available, ever present, every moment. It is the forgetting, the not remembering, the getting caught, then in the contraction, in the believed thought, in the storyline, in the preference. And then we're lost and we're suffering. And we can use this too, can't we? The beauty is, and then I can see this too, this very quality of me to go, poor me, why me? How come? Can it be? I want it to go like this. Can it be better? And he says we can hold it all. If judgments come up and feelings of failure, wanting to give up, try to handshake, be open to this experience as well as unpleasant or painful or confused or not liking it as it is. Can we still open to include it? And the answer is we can. This will be the path to the greatest, least, I don't mean the greatest suffering, the least suffering, the greatest ease. Really, I mean it. And that includes everything, the hardest, most painful, most unpleasant, most didn't like it thing there is. It's still a thing. It's only a moment. And the quality of mind that we bring to it will and can transform it. It is certain. And then there's this, we're going to stop for a moment. Then there's this area of hindrances. We'll come back to this next week, but we already know what the hindrances are. We already know what they are. They are qualities of mind that appear, we use the pond meditation to sort of make contact with these qualities that can dull the water, froth up the water, boil the water in which all things are being experienced. But they themselves cannot diminish the luminous reality of your awareness. They cannot. Your awareness, your presence, your luminosity is greater. Because what? I can see this momentary condition also. Oh, there I am, going to sleep. Oh, there I am, all agitated when I sit down. Oh, there I am, not wanting, not liking. Right? Recognizing the very qualities that we have placed in front of the lens of awareness and mistake it then, don't we? It's like putting a screen in front of that pure lens. That's the hindrance. And then it looks green, it looks broken, it looks cracked, but who did it? Me. I put those conditions right in front of the lens and then went, no, it's that. It's that. No, it isn't that. It was what you put in front of the lens, right? Do you get this idea? That was the quality of your own conditioned mind state. Yeah, you get this, right? I put it there, not always so intentionally. I don't want to claim that. I think often it's unintentioned and habitual, right? Conditioned in us. Whenever this happens, that lens goes right smack. I don't want this. This isn't fair. It keeps happening to me. What am I doing wrong? How could it be this horrible? These are all we're just sticking these, we could call them storylines, couldn't we? But I like the idea of lenses in front of the reality of this clear, luminous capacity. Now I can't see anything but fingers, right? When in fact it is not true. So know, as you are going through this week, if you are confronting the difficulties, what am I bringing to this? That doesn't mean the moment isn't painful or hard, right? We know that life comes with this and we don't want to lie about it. But what's happening that you are making it suffering? Mostly resistance, mostly ignorance, says the suttas. Either I see it and I don't want it, or I can't even see it. Like, what? What is that? And I can't figure it out. Why is this difficult? Why am I in suffering? And we remember, we're looking out there is our most common challenge, aren't we? We're going, what about it is the problem? It's that person that said that thing that I didn't want them to say, or they didn't do the thing they agreed to do. There's the problem. It's out there. And then we become powerless and victim. To what? To what? Somebody? To what? What are we victim to, Janine? You just said it.
Ourselves.
Yep. One perpetrator. One. We don't have 50. One perpetrator. Drive all blames into one is one of our slogans, isn't it? Now, it doesn't really mean blame. So be careful. That was just a fast way for those slogans. Drive all blames into one. It means look at the quality of your own heart mind. You will find the answer there. The quality of your own heart mind dictates, doesn't it? Reality. It draws and makes reality. True or not? Not always true. Yeah, ourselves, but not with knowing. No, not with knowing, not out with mindfulness, because we didn't look here. We didn't turn the mirror this way. We went, you, if only you could have done it. If only you would have followed through. If only you wouldn't have said it. If only you, right? You. And then we give away everything instead of what can I do with this very reality, this thing that occurred that I am now seeing as a problem, right? Nobody else. I'm going to read this and then we're going to say our prayer for the day. Not ourselves, yeah, we know this. And then we can have infinite, can't we? Heartful, loving feeling for ourselves in our delusion, right? Because then we need to, don't we, to go, wow, I can get lost in this thing called life, but I can also awaken. Even in the lost, if I can see it. And how do we know it? We know it by suffering. This is how we know it. If you're suffering, don't keep looking out there for the cause. Look within. What is the quality of my own heart mind? And then take that step back for yourself, right? Reground in stillness, spaciousness. You can do it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 10 breaths and clean the lens. We talk about that as cleaning the mirror, right? Cleaning them. Okay. We'll come back to the hindrances next week, but we will be working this weekend on luminosity and its instruction, according to the Zen tradition, by the way, and the Dzogchen tradition itself. So we're going to say our daily Bodhisattva prayer. And so establishing a quality of heart-mind, which is what we do when we establish a posture, by the way. The posture isn't exactly the point. It is establishing a posture in which the heart-mind, this quality of open, available, receptive, and luminous heart-mind can rest. And then igniting the heart of bodhicitta, this awakening, wise, loving, compassionate capacity in each of us. Feeling its warmth, its spaciousness, its availability, just this moment. And then a bow of the head and a drawing together of the hands. Let this posture itself be the beginning of the prayer. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge, for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened. May my thoughts, words, and deeds contribute to the end of suffering and the realization of all happiness and ease. So thank you all so, so very much. I am grateful, truly grateful for you all. For you all. I know that you're out there, which gives me great comfort and joy as we all work together. Right? We need each other. This is one of the essential gems on this panel. So thank you so much. Love you. Be well, everyone. See you on Saturday, and I think Craig will still be on this Thursday morning as well. So look forward to seeing you. Be well, everyone.